We are back at the top of the order. Um, in the past several seconds, you have faced off with some kind of creature. Uh, it is large and cat-like. It seems to be able to merge with and perhaps manipulate shadows. It strikes unseen and moves at great speed. There appear to be three of them. Two of them are injured. One of them is so far uninjured, but curiously not terribly aggressive. Their attack, the way they've been attacking and the way they're moving, has revealed to Yukimaru that although they are hostile, or at least they are attacking you, their intent seems to be to strike fear. And they don't really seem to be trying to kill you precisely. Within your former nursery where you grew up, your nurse has shouted at the creatures and is waving about a duster and kind of a lantern. Weeping at her feet is the new servant or keeper of the house, who tried to welcome you. She is weeping hysterically. Whatever, if the creatures were trying to strike fear in her heart, they certainly seem to have succeeded. Two of them are here with the majority of you, while your sibling, Sho, successfully drove one of them out into the ruins of your garden, where he is now facing off with the last of them, who truly has still has a fair number of his shadows wrapped around him. The night remains illuminated by Lord Moon's scowl, and we start up at the beginning of the round. Does anyone have any questions before I begin? All right, hearing none. Sho. The shadows surge forward. It races towards you, lashing out. Do you have any reactions you would like to use?
None at the moment.
All right. Will a 26 hit you?
Very much so.
Okay. I am afraid that was a natural 20. That was a critical hit.
It is, or what is your AC there, Sho?
Currently it is 17.
So to beat a I can't beat a 26 even if I rolled an 8. So yeah, sorry.
It is what it is.
Let's see how we do. Because the last time I rolled a critical hit, I rolled 11 points of damage. So
Well, the forces of darkness do well in Lord Moon's presence.
And I continue to have Game Master dice luck. On 2d8 and 2d6, you take 14 points of damage.
Oh, okay, ow.
Game Master dice luck is the best dice luck. We want bad dice luck for Game Masters.
It surges forward. You feel it. It body checks you and slashes you with its claws as it is, but you're fairly agile, so it's more it wins you than it hurts you. And it is racing past you. You may make an attack of opportunity.
Oh no, yeah, I am.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
So I'll roll a 19 on die, but because I have a severing cut, I believe that's the name of the ability. While I'm wielding a weapon in two hands, I have a critical threat range of 19 and 20. So that is a return critical hit back onto it.
Like I said, that is a return critical hit. Roll me a D4.
4.
Okay, you hit it.
All right. Because this is in two hands, and this is a versatile weapon, this is a D10, and I get to add my proficiency, my wisdom bonus to this as well, because I'm wielding this in two hands. So This is gonna hurt.
Yep. So with a critical hit, you do an extra D10 of damage.
Yeah, I'll just max out my damage with on 2d10 rolling 20 plus my 7, take 27 back.
Ouch. Okay, somebody got out ahead in that particular exchange, and it certainly wasn't whatever this thing is.
Yeah, wow. And that was with my +5 also?
Oh no, I forgot the plus 5. So we'll make that a 32.
32. Alrighty. That's not enough. You slash it, and you know you hit it hard. As it leaps past you and leaps up to the top of the nursery onto its low tiled roof. You can hear the sound of its claws scampering as it is trying to leap away. Your blade struck it, and although you are certain it was a physical creature, I mean, you know how to cut, you know what it feels like. And clearly all that cutting practice has paid off.
It works.
But you notice that what should be blood is just shadows dripping off your blade and boiling up in the moonlight. But you are absolutely certain you connected with it. There remain 2 in here. One of them is crouching at the door. It lets off a... It's not quite a roar. It's a deep kind of a coughing noise. But it is loud, and it contains within it kind of a seizing moment that clenches at your heart, as it's a sound that your body associates with predators and darkness. Everyone, please make a wisdom saving throw.
So this is if you have proficiency, it's your proficiency bonus plus your
plus your attribute.
Plus my attribute. That's what I was trying to think of. Thank you.
Yes.
Got it. So
Sorry.
And then just a d20. Got it. Sounds good.
I have an extra +2 to this because I activated the form of fire. At the end of my turn, it pushed me out of yang into neutral, and the neutral bonus for my path is 2 to all my saves.
Nice.
Still only got 10.
Oh,
Very closely honing in with my training. My Mind's Edge allows me to have double proficiency bonus for wisdom saving throws. That puts me up to a 14 total.
Okay. I have no idea. Okay. So what we have here is...
Okay.
Okay, so how do we do?
Well, I only got 7.
7. Gohan got a 10. Yukimaru got a 14.
I did.
Excellent. I'm trying to see if I can read this. And
Sho got a 14 as well.
14. Yes. Wow. Okay. So Yua and Gohan, you feel that grip in your heart, and you would certainly prefer to be somewhere else. However, the creature, having made that sound, actually leaps away, and you show, having turned, you can see that it actually lands on the storehouse roof and is continuing its movement away. The third one, the one that you can see most clearly, and that you have entered, or that you have injured, not entered, that you have injured, growls low and deep and says, perhaps in a voice, the growl certainly conveys a word, and that word is silence, growled low. And then with a bound, it leaps up into the rafters. Yua, as it is moving past you, attempting to leave, you may attempt. if you have a reaction, you may attempt an opportunity attack.
I would also like to use a reaction.
Yes.
My eyes betray the heart also keys off of whenever whenever a creature makes a action or a statement. And
Okay.
so it's saying silence means that I can make a check against it here. So I'm going to use my last of my intrigue dice here. All right, it is a 16 higher than its passive perception.
Unfortunately not.
Fair enough.
Okay. Its passive perception isn't that high, but it does just beat that.
No problem. All right.
All right.
Carry on.
Okay. Well, I'll try and hit it on an attack of opportunity on my reaction.
Using your Naginata's reach.
Yes.
As it goes leaping up into the rafters, you reach up with your Naginata and
We'll see what I do. 13 plus 4 is 17.
that will hit.
I will hit it I think I only do the damage itself on a regular hit.
Your damage plus your strength or your dexterity if it is a finesse weapon and you choose to use
Okay,
dexterity.
All right, so I add that there too. All right. Yeah, so 7, and I don't know if I get any bonus from what Yukimaru did before or not.
Okay. 7. We'll go ahead and just do the plus 5.
Yeah,
12.
that's still kicking in until my turn.
Yep.
Okay.
There's you catch it with your Naginata, but you do not stop it. You do cause it harm, scoring it along the flank as it races up and actually comes bursting out of the side of or out from the rafters and out and away from you. Meanwhile, Sho, your katana is gleaming in the light. Like, actually, it's not just reflecting light, it seems to be building light around it. You have struck a critical hit in defense of your family.
Okay. Nice. In the passing moment that we have, I will hold up the katana to admire it slightly.
Okay. You can see actually in the blade just for a moment. You can see the moon itself looking down upon you. And then that begins to fade. Unless you turn and actually begin to reflect it,
No.
Gohan, the opponents. This is your kind of your last breath moment. The opponents have fled. You hear the sobbing of a young girl. You see a older woman looking about herself fiercely. Two of the humans are still standing there looking, I don't know, somewhat concerned, somewhat frazzled. What do you do?
He's gonna sort of reach down to the pile of clothes and start pulling them back to uncover the figure under there, and just crouch over her and just ask, "Are you okay?"
Okay. And Yukimaru?
Yukimaru is going to try and take a look around the room for anything that might have been left behind or affected by, or caused these creatures, whether something that like a method that they entered the room by, or what have you. He's gonna do a search.
Okay. And Yua.
Yeah, at this point they're gone. I am lowering my katana and trying to figure out like how big a gash I got, and I'm wearing my armor now, and that is very, very confusing. So, I'm just standing there kind of little
All right.
confused.
All right. We are going to snap back in time here, right? As we go back to when you first began to return to your family home. We will handle the mechanics of the conversations and searches uh, after we've caught back up in time. Our scene actually begins days earlier as the siblings are beginning to return to the village of Otesu. You have all gone far in your lives. You have journeyed forth from your home, a holding on the edge of Crane, Phoenix, and Lion lands in that kind of open, shall we say, or contested border region. Your home is a small, not terribly prosperous village, a holding that your great grandfather secured through his valor on the battlefield. Your fathers are the remaining family, and you dispersed long ago from the point of view of young men and women, although perhaps not from your great grandfather's point of view, to pursue your livelihoods. We'll start with Yukimaru. Uh, Yukimaru, where did you disperse to, and what have you been doing to help your family?
So Yukimaru became a minor functionary to the liege lords of the province here, probably tallying, how much so it was in the storehouses, how much rice and other supplies were on hand at any given time. And unfortunately, over the years, their career has stagnated there. They now find themselves to be the oldest in a cadre of other lesser samurai who have kind of become glorified clerks in a lot of ways. And this is a position usually presented to samurai just starting out into their adult lives. Once they've kind of graduated from their genpuku, this is a position of some importance where they can learn and hopefully grow into something better. Unfortunately, none of my superiors have seen fit to grant me a promotion or to retire and make room for those who have come after them. And so their career has gone nowhere. And now they are the most senior in this position of juniors, fundamentally becoming the straw boss for this position. Now they have to not only do their own work, but also supervise everyone else that is beneath them. And in a lot of ways, in their minds, they know more than everyone junior than them, and they feel that they're smarter and more um, capable and dynamic than those above them. But just because of the way things are and the tradition of it all, they haven't been able to find a way to uh, convince their superiors that maybe it is time to make room for someone else. They can't find it in their heart to, ask them to retire or even to try and politically force them out of it. And yeah, it's just this sitting as a straw boss with all of the responsibilities and, or I should say, all of the duties, but none of the authority of a position that they feel that they are due, and just they feel that their career is slipping away from them, and the ability to provide for the family and return it to some some bit of status. They are landed nobles after all, and they should. Have something for that.
Excellent. As you are returning home in the first part of winter, are you bringing anything with you? Any offering, any anything you want to give to your great grandfather, or to your own father, or to your mother?
Oh, probably nothing grandiose. Even if they feel that they maybe should.
Hmm.
He is a person kind of driven by filial obligations and a piety to the tradition and the ways of the empire. Um, but it's unfortunately something that is um, fairly common, but something that he finds invaluable, and it is good stationery for his family to write with, and he hopes to have them write letters to other family members and seeking advice and or help. But yeah, no, his best bet is to bring good paper and stationery and something nice to envelop it in, and possibly a nice new inkstone and brushes for his parents. But yeah, it's not much, but it's something that he hopes they'll both respect and put to use.
Okay. Um, as he is uh, coming close to, you haven't quite entered your home village. Uh, Coming along on one of the side roads, you see Yua, Yomodai no Doji Yua. Yua, describe yourself.
Yua, as she comes, she's wearing her lacquered armor, but she's hasn't got her helmet on. She is obviously just, has taken off the helmet because her hair is still kind of messy. It's shortcut, and it has a cowlick, so it means that it just doesn't quite sit the way it's supposed to, anyway. But she is tall, and her steps are dragging. She is not excited to be going home. Um, every time she returns, she feels the weight of her failures to be the sort of child that she was supposed to be. She's getting ready to face those failures again, because that's what awaits her here. She's ruined everything for the family, at least in her mind, and she will never be able to make up for it. And even if she thought she could, her family would not let her forget that she is the one who cost the father the big promotion. She is the one who burned down the stores. She is the one who caused all this trouble, and she'll never quite be able to make up for that. So she's kind of reluctantly dogging her way down the street.
Okay. And she also spies Yukimaru, and how has he changed? I mean, it's been years since they saw each other.
He doesn't laugh as much.
Well, no, Yukimaru description.
Yeah, so Yukimaru she's right. He has a worried, dour expression on his face, and it's something that he has carried now for a few years. And he might have once been more carefree and with a looking forward to the future. It's something that has then unfortunately kind of been beaten out of him over the years of being passed
Mm,
over.
mm. And seeing each other, how do you greet one another?
Um, you will give a proper bow of an inferior, because he's the older brother, and
Mm,
but not going any closer or expressing any more intimacy of than that uh, at this time, unless he does.
And for the most part, Yukimaru is happy that someone at least kind of views him as a superior or an elder for once, and returns the bow in a proper way. But it's very stilted and more official
Mhm.
than something between family.
Mhm.
Um, but he would probably just then rise back up and keep walking and without turning back to her, refer to her as Imoto, little sister.
Okay.
Keep up now.
Fall in to step behind him because let's face it, we put the fun in dysfunctional.
All right. Um, the two of you continue along this beaten path. Um, uh, you might very charitably call it a road. Um, the largest thing that ever really travels along it are wagons, which come here really for your ginkgo timber. Uh, about the only real claim to fame that the place has is a large copse of ginkgo trees, which has been maintained for decades and provides timber for making sake barrels. It's not a glamorous export, but it does earn you some money. Um, and, sake is what makes Rokugan go round. Um, walking along the path, you come to the small village, which is scattered around the estate that you grew up on. And village is again kind of a grandiose term. It is a large number of a large number, uh, multiple dozens, let's say, of small clusters of uh, wooden homes scattered around. The clusters in groups of 3 and 4 around large, well-maintained gardens as well. Um, you can see up a little bit on a hillside where theoretically it would be more defensible. Your family estate, quote unquote. A number of small buildings. The front two typically dedicated first to the eldest son, and then a guest chamber or a guest house. A larger main house, which is actually 2 stories tall and has well manicured cedar trees that grow up around it. Past that, from personal experience, is the bathhouse, the second son and the third son, and theoretically other family members' dwelling place, the nursery where you grew up, and a large storehouse, all of which are built up around a large garden. The low wall around all of the estate is more ceremonial than defensible. It's perhaps 4 feet tall and reasonably well made of stone. Although, as you are approaching, you can easily see that it has been some years since anyone spent the time to rework the mortar or even just clean the stones, and bits of moss cling to them. At the main entrance, which theoretically would be a gate, were this a more grand estate, you can see a figure you have not seen in many a year. Gohan, please describe yourself.
So Gohan is a man in his mid-20s. He has clearly been living out in the road in the wild for quite some time. His clothes are very uh, well traveled. Not to say they've traveled well. He looks pretty underfed and skinny. Um, His skin has sort of a weathered or sunburnt appearance. He normally travels wearing a basket helmet, but while he's waiting outside the gate, he has taken that off and set it on the ground, and you can see that his head has been like shaved down to rough stubble.
Okay. Is he a tall man?
He is not very tall. No,
Okay.
he's a little short guy.
Okay. Um,
But he does have the sort of, despite all of his not very impressive features, he does have sort of eh, the vibrant blue eyes that are traditional to some of the crane.
okay. So as you are approaching, Yukimaru, you're in front with your little sister trailing diligently behind you, and you see Gohan loitering at the gate.
Cousin, let yourself in. But what is holding you back? You cautious of the threshold?
Cousin, yes, it's been a long time. It's been many seasons.
Uh, that's very true. I've been gone so long. I don't know what it'll be like to return home either. And he kind of comes walking up alongside Gohan and takes his time and takes in the low wall and the kind of rundown and just frankly shabby looking exterior of their
Mhm.
estate, and just a big heavy sigh, and they'll eventually just no. I guess I get it. It's difficult to return home.
Hello, Gohan-san. I hope your journey was not too difficult.
Well, when one is on the road, all you need to do is put one foot in front of the other and keep doing that, and eventually you'll find out where you need to be.
All
You
right.
you sound like Shinsei there.
These years of, I don't know, maybe give me a bit of perspective.
Since when did you read The Little Teacher?
And Gohan sort of pauses because Oda suspects that he may have made a major blunder here already, and just says, while on the road, travelers will leave books that they finish behind for other travelers to pick up.
Nice save.
Yeah, anything to pass the time, I suppose.
Um, so out of character, I imagine
Mhm.
Gohan, the reason why he is a pilgrim is because the family's so poor that they're like, well, our family had to throw one of our kids to another clan, but that's actually a move up for him. And to support him, I'm basically just panhandling on the road, so you don't need to invest anything on me.
Mhm. All right. Excellent.
But also
Mhm.
probably uh, didn't really have a problem with that. I imagine Gohan probably wasn't super. He felt loyalty to his family
Mhm.
and filial piety, but maybe not a lot of kinship.
Got it. So, having paused for a moment, do you continue on your way, pass through the gate and up to the town or up to the
Yeah, I think I'll
estate?
go ahead and do it,
Mhm.
especially since Gohan seems hesitant to work the gate, and
Mhm.
I'll lead the three of us on up into uh, the grounds proper.
Okay. Gohan, do you fall in uh, behind Yua?
Yeah, I'm gonna file in behind you, just so hopefully they
Mhm.
don't notice that. Like, he wasn't so much loitering out the gate as like, all
Mhm.
right, get familiar with the lay of this land because people are gonna expect you to know it. So he was more like doing recon than anything else. So
Okay.
he hopes they won't notice that he's sort of glancing around a lot
Right.
and sort
Okay.
of taking everything in.
All right. Um, you walk up the hill a bit, and then come up between the first son's wing and the guest wing, and you can see the main building there, the main home, and you can see the veranda on the main wing, which faces into that outer courtyard. Standing on the veranda is a young woman. If she is past her Gimpuku, it would be by a year or two. She is dressed in as fine a kimono as your family can afford, of lightish blue, embroidered with just kind of an abstract wave pattern in white. Her hair is very, very tightly bound around her head, and there is probably quite a bit of it, were she ever to let it down. And she is pretty in a very conventional sort of a way, not in the practiced and skilled courtier way, or somebody who has been trained, but just she's a pretty girl. Somebody should take her in hand and actually show her how to take care of herself. She is standing on the steps, and standing in front of her is someone none of you have seen for at least a decade. Sho, what do you look like?
Sho is a little bit of a below average height Rokugani man, with the traditional pure white hair, blue eyes, not as much of a rugged face as you would expect. He's actually fairly lean, all things considered. Holds himself with a dignity and grace that clearly does not look like it belongs in a place like this. And as a matter of fact, even though he's standing on the veranda, he's still has that haughty appearance, and almost like he's looking down upon just everything in the area as a whole. But the clothing he wears is really magnificent to look upon. And he just turns from whatever was being said towards the approaching visitors and says, "Oh, good. Excellent. I need someone to take care of the horse and stuff. Oh, more family."
Cousin.
Cousins.
Cousin.
And this is by and far not the show that you knew way back when. The last time you saw Sho, he may have been just out of toddler years. And, Sho was a little bit more rambunctious back then, but now this is a wholly different person.
There's a nice chill in the air and all of that.
Indeed. And the young lady, bows at the waist, again to you, Sho. She's been doing that a lot.
She's at least got that practice down.
Masters and mistresses, I welcome you home. I am afraid that the Yadomi has taken to his rooms. He is resting, and his son, his son has gone down to the village with Chikakata, Captain Chikakata. They are not yet returned, but I will let them know that you have come. Please, please. She hasn't even looked up yet. She's just like bobbing up and down.
And,
Speak clearly, girl. We haven't gotten all night.
um, um, I, your the Yamadai asked me to make sure that you had rooms available to you. I have made sure they are prepared. If you if you could come to me and or come with me, come with me. Yes. Um, um, she kind of looks up and she looks. Does anyone have insight?
I do.
I
Yep.
do as well.
Okay. What is your
Passive insight?
passive insight?
Yeah, let me get that. Passive insight would be
16.
Same here.
same here.
Okay. She does not have a great deal of experience, obviously, maintaining her face. If anything, she seems highly confused and extremely flustered at the moment. You would guess, let's see here. Sho and both of you have received formal training. She has not. She's just making do with what little she knows.
Are there horses in the stable or anything like that, or horses in the courtyard that need to be stabled, anything like that?
Probably shows.
There, yeah, shows.
Right. So without a word, without any response or anything like that, Yua is just going to go take Show's horse and take it to the stable to brush it down and prepare it. Not saying anything to Show, not doing anything else. Just, she knows who the golden child is, and she knows who she is, and she's going to take the golden child's horse to the stable and take care of it, and then she doesn't have to deal with whatever is going on here anyway.
Show doesn't even notice.
Of course not.
I'm sorely tempted to say something. But instead, he will just shake his head as he watches Yua take the pony off, and he'll turn to our new servant, and he'll be like, "Girl, we've lived here most of our lives. Well, some of us have. We can find our own rooms. Should go and set out something to eat for everyone. Be about it now."
Yeah.
I personally believe that practice makes perfect. So, if you would like, you can show me to my room if that would make you feel happy.
Yes, I am also wishing to see a little bit more discipline exercised here. You will show me to my room.
A little more discipline, then. Shouldn't you have taken your own horse to the stables and set it down yourself, or has the Riverlands made you soft?
Soft, no, we have people for that. See? The horse is already gone.
Yeah, so you have people for it, or you can do it yourself like a proper samurai to look after their war mount.
War mount is merely a travel animal, nothing more.
She begins to guide you around the main house rather than taking you through it, allowing you to tromp across flagstones, which have seen, like much of this place, better days. You can see the weeds growing up between them. As you keep walking, you come around the main house, and you can see the space that used to be cleared off for weapons practice, and is now kind of a weedy mess. It's been cut recently, at least. And you come around and continue to walk and go towards the old guests or the old family quarters. Um, there, you see rooms have been laid out for you. They are small and reasonably well equipped. Futons and blankets. Small writing desks have been set aside. There are chests for your clothes and whatever it is you may be carrying with you. For those of you who were sent off to warrior training, so for Yua and Sho, they have also provided you with sword stands as well as armor stands, both of considerable age, beautifully made, and elaborately carved in the shape of cranes and phoenixes, actually, kind of woven together upon a single nest. Perhaps part of your great grandfather's original bequest. Your armor stands are equally beautiful. In this case, made to resemble the upreaching of willow trees.
Lovely.
But again, old. All right. You have a little bit of time before dinner. And you have the chance to take a moment, rest, get yourselves ready.
So after being shown to his room, Sho looks at the very ornately carved sword stand and armor stand, and he does bring out the katana and wakizashi, the daisho, and sets it up on the sword stand, as it does look very nice for a place like this. And so he sets that up in a place of honor. And this armor stand, well, he doesn't really wear armor, so he takes out one of the yukata brought along for this and hangs it up properly onto the stand to make sure it is in good condition. And then looks around a bit, kind of does a little bit of a just sniff, just like, okay. And then we'll take a step out and starts wandering around the grounds, just looking over of what has happened to his childhood home after the 2 decades he has been gone. And just walking around the pond, seeing it full of reeds and just very run-down locations. He just has a face of contempt this entire time as he wanders around.
Well, sometime shortly after he comes out, uh, Yua comes out from currying the horses and or currying his horse, and she has got her helmet and stuff, and she is heading towards her room, which she knows where it is, so she's not worrying about that. She goes home a little bit more often than like Sho would, and she gives him a nod and steps aside to let him pass.
And as
Right.
he pulls up or beside, he stops, takes a bit of a glance over his shoulder, and says, "You've trained with the Daidoji, yes?"
Yes, I have, Shosan.
Have you come into any conflict recently?
I have fought on the wall, and I have done 3 campaigns against the lion in the last 5 years.
It is good that someone of your temerity is defending the Empire. And I'm glad that you are at least returning back to the estate.
Thank you, Shosan. I have seen some notes of your passage in the rosters, but I would not presume to know any details.
Oh,
I'm assuming
those
you're
are
on the glory list somewhere, you know.
somewhere. And he just has that small little like chuckle and says, "Of course you have seen the name. It will be empire-wide very soon."
I look forward to that.
Of course you do. And he starts walking off a little bit further.
A big sigh. She goes onto her room to unload her, take off her armor.
I imagine Gohan probably had been shown his room by this point in time and given a vague lay of the land by the staff. He really doesn't have any possessions to unpack or stow away, really. So he'll probably just sort of be sitting in his room looking out the window, and when he sees his quote unquote brother going for a walk, he'll probably jump out and sort of run up to him and join him.
Gohan?
Brother, is it everything you remember it to be?
If only it were. This place has been run down from poverty and plague.
I think it has character.
Character. This is
Yeah, it's like that that thing you do when you like break stuff and then you put the shiny gold stuff in between it and smush it back together.
Sho just looks at you just incredulously and says, "Kinsurugi?"
Gohan just sort of shrugs. Probably.
Uh, um, I don't think there's. You would need a lot more gold to make this place look anything worth keeping.
Gohan just sort of looks at you. He's like, I think I was being more figurative. I think you could directly improve the aesthetics of this property through a more immediate transaction of gold rather than slapping it between the seams. Right? Right? That's
There would need to be a substantial transaction. At least that's what I was told that I was worth, at least. Was a substantial transaction. Apparently it was put to waste.
I'm not sure about that. It has I mean, anybody can spend Koku to order someone to build a house, but you can't instill it with memory or emotion.
Is that something they taught you at the monastery?
It's something I've learned over the years. But if you're so concerned about the well-being and the maintenance of the property, and with that he'll just kind of hook him by the arm or something and kind of drag him towards and if possible into the pond to just start pulling out reeds.
Uh, as soon as you like start getting him towards the armory, Sho just kind of roughly pulls himself out of your grip, or at least attempts to, and he says, "No, that is not our position in life."
Take direct responsibility for the land that sustained you is not your responsibility?
Our responsibility is to protect and maintain those who have the direct responsibility of maintaining the land. And if our family, and he says the word with just like a spit, it's like if our family is the one that has mismanaged those who manage this area, then perhaps we should let this land just be retaken.
I couldn't disagree with you more.
Well, I think that does show one of the major differences between us is that you have stayed in the area and you've grown attached.
I haven't been here
Whereas
in years.
you've been in this area, have you not?
I go far and wide. I go wherever my feet take me.
Hmm.
I've probably traveled further than you have.
I I doubt that. I have traveled across many of the Crane lands.
Into other people's lands?
Once or twice.
He'll sort of kick off his sandal and sort of point his foot up towards you, soul out. He's like, look at the callus on these feet. These are the feet that have walked Rokugan, not been carried between a few select cities.
Well, if showing off your feet makes you feel better, then by all means continue to do so. But I feel that you've grown attached to this particular estate.
Maybe I have, and that's my sin. Attachment, of course, not being promoted by people who follow this life, he says, realizing he's just trying to run that sentence out before it incriminates himself a little more. It's like, but I disagree with what you said before. It's not our job to tell people what to do. It's our job to demonstrate proper and upright behavior for people. It's like, and sometimes that means you need to take the first steps, and that means sometimes you need to get your hands dirty. And with that, he's going to turn his back on his quote unquote brother and march into the pond and start singing a bunch of rice time peasant songs as he starts weeding the pond.
Show just shakes his head and starts walking off, but he always tries to get that last barb in and says, Gohan, you can never carry a tune.
Prompts him to sing louder and more out of tune.
So during this time, Yukimaru has packed away his clothes, put away his things, tucked away the paper and the inkstone and the envelopes that he hopes to give to his parents, and then pulls out the uh, tobacco box and he hangs it over by the window and slides open the screen and packs a pipe that one day in the past would have been silver or at least silver inlaid and now is just unadorned utilitarian pipe, and takes the tongs from the box and would reach out to the brazier and pick out one of the smallest pieces of coal, and now is unfortunately realizing how low their stores are, and to adequately light this pipe, he picks out one of the largest pieces of coal still burning in the brazier to provide some warmth to this room. And he lights the pipe and he sits against the sill of the door, watching most of this play out in the courtyard down below. And he'd eventually call out to his cousin as he's walking back towards his rooms and just, are you is your appraisal well and done? Have you decided what you're going to sell each individual bit of this estate off for, piecing it out, bringing it to market? I thought the Yasuki left the crane.
No, I'm just reminiscing on what could have been and what should have been.
What should have been, if only we ever got what we should have gotten or what we feel we should have gotten by the fortunes, we would be rich and wealthy with friends and retainers and soldiers in arms side by side with us right now.
Instead,
But,
it was left to mismanagement.
oh, yes, but how do we tell that to our fathers or our great grandfather?
I suppose it is too late to tell them anything, really. Once the grandsire has passed along to the lands beyond, then this estate will pass down to one of our fathers. And considering that my father is living the life of luxury in Otasanuchi, it may turn out to be your father that gets this.
He is the eldest. It's the right and proper way. Maybe not the fairest way, but at least the right and proper way.
Do you believe that he has the capability to bring this estate back to what it should be?
If he had, it already would have been so. He's fundamentally been in charge, but in the shadow of his grandfather. Pretty much, what you see as mismanagement is unfortunately two heads trying to rule one body.
And that is concerning. As I was talking with my brother just now, this is clearly a place of attachment for many. I do not have any sort of preconceived notion of wanting to keep this place for myself. However, tensions on the rise between the Crane and the Phoenix. Who's to say that, a group of Phoenix samurai manned with a shigenja or two does not come and claim this location for their clan? Would there be any way we would stop them?
So if you have no attachment, what does it matter to you? If you don't mean to sell it off to gain some value out of it, what does it matter? You serve down south, you serve the Kikita. This is a doji issue. This is a sume issue.
This is going to be a Crane issue. And any loss of territory is not acceptable. So while I have no attachment to the land itself, I do have a bit of an idea for the strategic.
So what, you tend to build this up into another Kasatsun Shiro? Another border fortification against the lion and the predations of the terrible phoenix?
Perhaps if you had studied your history more, you would understand that the Phoenix, once roused, are very dangerous. So, I would like to offer at least more than token resistance, if something were to happen.
Oh, I've studied the histories, and while the anger of the phoenix is terrible indeed, it is when they are roused to anger by the provocations of others. Your school, your family, they teach provocation, do they not?
They do, but it is not our position to dictate what happens within the Crane. That is more along your family and traditions, is it not?
Finally, a Kikita that understands their place within the order.
Yes, but we have to think about the consequences of what happens when your family decides one thing.
Yours is not to worry about what we dictate. Yours is but to ensure our will, to prove our truth within the courts, and to eliminate problems that we have that present themselves in our path.
And here lies before us a problem that is in our path, which is a weak estate that is crumbling away to ruin.
You miss it entirely. It's old men. And with that, Yukimaru kind of has a bit of look of distaste after working on the pipe for a while, and realizes the tobacco is stale. Who knows how long it's been sitting in this box? And he taps it out into the sand tray at the top uh, of the box, and just finishes with but I've said too much in anger and in spite. I'm just glad our fathers are asleep at this hour.
At which point, Sho reaches into his robes and pulls out a small box, just nicely wrapped up with a very bright blue ribbon, and just undoes the ribbon and opens it up to show just a little bit of fresh tobacco leaves in there, or freshly dried tobacco leaves, and offers it to Yukimaru and says, "Yes, old men are the issue, but there is always a future ahead of us."
And with that, he'll reach out and go ahead and pack himself a new bowl with his pipe and offer for Sho to come in and join him for a smoke.
And Sho will do so.